get over there. Hey, what's up? Happy Saturday. And too early for TikTok, man. TikTok is not rocking with this. Well, this is Justice's Waiting Room. So, this is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. This weekend, pretty much. Yep. Because the schedule changes after this weekend. So, we're good to see everybody. I wanted to share with you first the best part about all of this is the good news, right? So, there they are. S&M. Yep. I was just posting about y'all on the internet. Quite the following, absolutely, and proud of it. Hmm. Little bit of a slow start this morning. My my team wasn't here. They're here though, so don't worry. I can't go without my people. I'm just kidding. I just like to wait until there's people over there. Yeah, there is really good news. The tariffs aren't actually being collected. And understand the tariffs are collected at ports. Okay? Tariffs are collected at ports. Turns out, one of the problems that I thought about, but I didn't think about, is like, how do you handle the cash difference at ports? I mean, in some instances, you're talking about like barrels of dollars. Where are you going to put it? Did you put a system in? See, that's a great, holy shit, Jared. You literally would have to get a different kind of cash register. It's like the simplest way to say it. It's not pennies and nickels, Don. Right? Like some of these tariffs were by order of magnitude. Okay, there were considerably large tariffs being placed. I just want to point out everybody needs a little good news and a reality, right? And I like it when it's good news and it's real. Okay, the and again, it's there have been statements made that make sense along this path of logic, and it's like I thought he was going to set up the infrastructure first before he laid these tariffs, right? And instead, he ran out these tariffs, chickened the fuck out, backed them off. Yes, that was going to be the next thing we're going to talk about. I think this impacts a lot more people because everybody's fucking talking about being depressed and we're headed towards a depression and a recession and there's too much ishins, okay? So I just want to run this out real quick and run this up the flagpole and say, hey, I know everything sucks. I know everything sucks. They're not even set up to take money yet. It's like there's a lemonade stand and everybody's just taking lemonade. Like nobody's paying because there's nobody there to because that's not how this shit works, Don. Nobody was like, that's good news. It's fucking fantastic news. Is that, again, they had talked about this during the run up to the election where tariffs had been brought up, and they interviewed this dude from the ports. And he was like, who do you think buys and sells goods in the United States? Where do you think they're exchanged? Ports. Like this one. You know what I mean? And you look at the little shack that the guy sits in all day, and he does take money. So I don't want anyone to ever beat me up for like, oh, that doesn't make any sense, Jared. He does take money, but it isn't inferior. Like, oh, it's so much less money. Than when you lay tariffs nationwide, and now everything that comes in is getting just like an exorbitant amount of money taxed on it. Um, that structure cannot hold that. That's not safe. That little till he has, that he has to push a button to open, that there's no key for. Yeah, that's not good enough. That's not good. Donald's talking about bringing in trillions of dollars, right? We're gonna need a fucking ATM. You're gonna need to build a bank at the ports. You're actually gonna need to build multiple banks at the ports. You're gonna have to have a currency exchange. You're gonna have to literally have people carrying cash away from the ports. This sounds like The Sopranos, but stupid. This has like mafia. It's like the mafia version of like Bonnie and Clyde, except Don's by himself. He's really just driving the globe off a cliff. Um, so yeah, I just want to point out they're not even set up to take that level of money yet. The infrastructure is not in place. So I know everybody wants to wake up and scream every morning. Totally with you. What I try to do is like find something that makes me be like, "Oh, yep, that's a day starter right there." And I'm afraid it's for today anyway. They ain't even like they can't take in the money. Like, what are we doing? This is stupid. It's going to backfire. We should stop now. I'm just throwing this out there. We should not hyper tariff the world. We're not even set up with for to take that kind of money. Okay. So hey, after we talk about the fact that they can't even take in the tariffs, like what are we doing? Okay. I want to actually I think I'm gonna go here. Okay, so sorry, Corey, I lied to you. I'm a typical man. Okay. I think I want to go to where the LA Times says Donald Trump had a 5 hour physical yesterday. Now, listen, I don't know about Chaw, okay, and how much time you've spent in a doctor's office in your fucking lifetime, kids, children, lads. 5 hours? I know he's the president, but holy shit, what were they doing? Putting in titanium? Or were they giving him like an adamantium skin or something? That doesn't sound like an appointment. That sounds like a commitment. That's like a round and a half of golf. Okay. 5-hour physical. And we've got some health questions. I don't I don't know about you, but if you, whoo, I'm warm. Like that is fantastic. Like, hey, hey, I don't know how again, I don't know how much time you've ever spent at a doctor's office in your fucking lifetime, but okay. 5 hours is forever. Okay. And then yes, China has basically said like we don't need y'all. And I don't know if you watched I made a short this morning and I posted on TikTok. Um, that, and I was making a joke. I thought it was funny. It was in the moment. I recorded myself. I fucking uploaded on the internet. Um, so I woke up this morning to memes being made about Donald Trump being chided is the correct word. Chided over his decisions to lay tariffs in the Oval Office. And how, this makes us a less reliable trade partner. People want to do business with us. They want to take their goods and elsewhere and sell. And he said that every country's calling me all day, every day, blowing up my phone, trying to make a deal. And I believe he brought up, I'm waiting on a phone call from China. Okay, Xi Jinping. And I was explaining to my wife how uh, China and Xi Jinping kind of sunned the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, um, and said like, "Don't wait up." Like, fuck are you talking about? And I was explaining to my wife, they have like 5 times the population we do. They got other shit to worry about. Okay. They don't give a fuck about us little peon ass United States. We have less than 340 million people in this country. They have 1.5 billion. Do you expect their fucking leader to look at us and like, yeah, we gotta take you serious? No, honey, you fucked up everybody's lives. All our lives suck. It's your fault. That's basically how they're looking at Donald Trump and this administration. So, which is by design. Remember, if it feels chaotic and also really stupid, and like maybe there's a language barrier that we're crossing here, yeah, that's because it's by design. Vladimir Putin. The chaos and disorder, the lack of understanding of institutions, and not understanding the fucking legal system. Why do you think like a judge rules against Donald Trump moves to have the judge removed, which like you can't. Who do you think's telling him that shit? Vladimir Putin. Okay. So I made a little joke this morning. Okay. But Donald Trump saying that he's expecting Xi Jinping to call him, right? And I said, I made a joke this morning that Donald Trump and I finally have something in common. My daddy ain't gonna call me neither. So obviously that's a joke about Xi Jinping basically being Donald Trump's daddy. Because keep in mind, during the election cycle, didn't Xi Jinping ask Putin to have Elon shut Starlink down over Taiwan, which is our ally? So we got a little over 50 people watching us on YouTube and TikTok this morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday to you. As always, my name is Jared Malat. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I'm a socialist. I voted for Bernie, who I've learned there are grown adults out there that refer to Bernie Sanders as a Ponzi scheme. Anyway, grown adults, real people with like thoughts and shit. One is easy. So yeah, I think it's important today to talk about how I know your company's going to fail. Do you know how I know Twitter's going to fail? You could, if you call it X, that's what you call it. Just like I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we have this place where you go to listen to concerts called fucking Deer Creek, and I actually don't give a fuck what it's called now. It's on its like fifth name in the 20 years I've lived here. It's fucking Deer Creek, suck a dick. Same thing in this spot here. Just throwing that out there. Okay? So when Elon Musk, who is 60 fucking years old, I'm just throwing numbers out for you. Okay? When he uses his little to force the SSA, the Social Security Administration, to move all its communications to Twitter. That is how I know your company's going to fail. Okay? The older generation does not know how to communicate. Does not understand barriers. If you think shit is awful now, just wait until you put all the fucking old and disabled people like me, right? Like put all the old and disabled people on fucking Twitter. Which, for the record, that's like the only people that are left. Like, who the fuck else is on Twitter? Okay? So, if you are invested in Twitter or in Elon Musk, and there was ever like a fucking sell signal, like sell that shit, it's the Social Security Administration is moving all its communications to Twitter. Okay? Not only is that not going to help their dwindling membership, but Twitter has been down recently. It is not nearly as reliable as it used to be. And in fact, it's had enough outages in the last 90 days as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not talking about me personally. Remember, I'm a former sports journalist. I'm in a Discord with a bunch of professional journalists. Twitter has been down a handful of times in the last 90 days. Okay? If you remember watching the Social Network, they were freaking out over it not being online all the time. We cannot have downtime, right? That was one of the scenes in the movie. Okay, so I know that things happen, and you know, every time there's a stimuli, you react and you have feelings. Let me straighten that out for you. Let me straighten that out for you. You know how I know your business is gonna fail? When you're trying to force people to use your application. It's like putting up a toll booth, right? Holding up a whole single lane of traffic. There are multiple other lanes that do not require a toll, and he's not guaranteeing anything. Why the fuck would you go there, pay that money, right? Just so you know, I would, if I worked for the SSA, Rogue SSA is still going to post on every other fucking social media website. There will be mirrors to make sure. And I actually think, you know what, this is actually going to backfire on Elon Musk. Do you know how I know this is going to backfire on Elon Musk? Is because people are plotting to fight against whatever he's doing. And I thought about, all that what should happen is rogue SSA pops up everywhere and just takes all the communication from the SSA off Twitter and posts it on all the other websites. That way, Elon Musk thinks that it's going to help him. You know, he probably really needs all those people that have Social Security to get back on Twitter. They're really hurting. He needs them on there. He also needs to keep Twitter in the news, right? Got to keep it relevant because it's about all he's got left, right? Tesla's in a free fall. He just absorbed, he used XAI, had an $80 billion valuation. He used that to absorb Twitter. It's failing. It's a hardcore failure. Okay. CC said supposedly it's anonymous. Well, we are Legion, huh? To the surprise of no one. The only people shitting on anonymous are the people doing less. I've never seen anybody that's actually doing shit talk shit on anonymous. Yeah, Grok contradicts everything. Yeah. Twitter is not safe to use. Okay. So just know, I know things are rough. It's confusing. Like every day you wake up, it's like super frustrating. One of the things you'll find here is like a cold dose of reality. Like we're just gonna be like, no, this is what's really going on. Like he's failing. Like let me just look into the cameras and say he's failing spectacularly. I know things fucking suck, dog. He's failing spectacularly. Like every day, okay? Every day something happens and it's like, "Oh my god." Like he wanted X to happen. Y happened. He's still talking about it like X is going to happen. Meanwhile, Y is just trotting across the stage like, "Look at me now." And you're just like, "Does he not understand? He looks like a fucking idiot here." Yes, wheels are falling off. Yes, he's literally getting articles written about him where they're like, "Is he insane?" So stay off of fucking Twitter, dude. Okay? Stay off of Twitter. Wait a minute, what? If you didn't team up with Trump, you would still love him. What are you talking about? If he still did all the other things he did, but he wasn't literally trying to live on. Why don't you do panels? Oh, because I don't like getting to know other people. When I get to know them and I get to know who they really are, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sharing my platform with a bigot. Do you understand? So I just am like, let me do my show. We're talking about the fucking news. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I've learned in my life is don't get to know people. No new friends. Y'all motherfuckers are crazy. Y'all have some wild ass thoughts. Y'all got some wild ass thoughts. So you know what I think's gonna happen? They're gonna taint the fucking food supply. Look at this shit. And if you get what I'm saying, okay, the demand for Australian beef increases. Okay. What's wrong with Australia in terms of being like a global supplier of beef? They're just a small island country comparatively to other large masses of land that are more capable of producing beef. Do you understand? It's much harder to ship fresh beef to the world when you're far away from everyone across the fucking ocean on a small fucking island. Have none of you played fucking Civilization? Do you understand? Like, it's expensive as fuck. Water. Water. Yep. I went to Australia once. Lovely place. Okay? Lots of water. And time. And time. And that's the thing about time, is that time is not kind to beef, to raw meat. And so, like I said, holy fuck, you dumb shit. Burp. I forgot to put war in the chat because I wanted to talk about how they're not collecting tariffs. They're not able to do that. Ex-military. Oh yeah, I'm a Marine. Uh-huh. Don't they let their cattle roam in Australia? Well, at least they're free range, right, Vixen? What is good for a Southern night? And importantly, we got to talk about April 19th. You got to spread the word. Okay? Don't lead me on. Okay? That's the only just how I am. I'm about business. Okay? Don't lead me on. Don't don't lead off with there's a protest on April 19th R50501 and then back the fuck out and call it a day of action instead, because it's a free protest, right? Where you don't have to, you're not donating money, you're not doing nothing, you're just showing up and fucking voicing your goddamn concerns and getting your fucking march on, right? Hey, April 19th is not a day of action. I ain't doing that shit. If you're scared, go to fucking church. April 19th is the next fucking protest. Why? Because April 20th, Donald Trump's going to declare fucking martial law. So it might be the last time you go protest and nothing fucking horrible happens based on given information. So they're calling it a day of action, and they're saying this. They're saying the people that organize the protests are tired and they were unpaid. And that's the thing about capitalism that will break anyone, is that you're not properly motivated, and what happens is you get tired. You feel unappreciated. Okay? Hey, I'm just going to again look into the camera and say it. If you're organizing dissent, your reward is participation. Do you understand? If you're organizing a protest and you're not being paid to do that, people showing up is the reward. Your hard work resulted in, for an example, in Indianapolis, 5,000 plus people showing up to protest, right? Here in March. Or no, April 5th. Sorry, April 5th. Okay? Now, April 19th, your state capital, around noon, you got to go to R50501. Here's why. It's like every town and city is doing their own fucking thing. It went from wildly well coordinated and ramping up the frequency, and more people were starting to get out and go protest. And every time we meet, the protests get bigger. instead of just being consistent and say April 19th is the next protest. Your state capital, same place you did it before. Hopefully there's more people because again it's on a weekend. There's a couple weeks where we're ramping up the frequency, right? What have I watched happen? I've watched R50501 back up off that message and turn it into a day of action due to a lack of participation. That is not anyone's decision to fucking make. We don't have central leadership here. That's not how this works. I just want to point this shit out. No one's in fucking charge. We're not fucking stopping protesting because people are feeling unappreciated. Fuck you. You're in it for the wrong reason. If you don't wake up every day fucking hot and willing to do whatever it takes to fucking make sure your voice is heard, keep in mind that despite working a full-time job, I still host a daily live podcast where we're not trying to make money off y'all. Do you understand that? Like I ain't throwing links no more. I ain't doing that shit. Or actually talking about the news, talking about what's going on, and then I'm an actual human. I'm not a robot. I don't have a teleprompter. So yes, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna share some news items. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on, right? So for those of you that are like, oh, I'm a little crackhead. I need my news, Jared. For a moment, we're going to talk about, hey, on the 19th, which is next Saturday, there should be a nationwide protest every state capital. The only reason that message is getting watered down is because Reddit is taking heat from Elon Musk. Do you understand now? Are you starting to understand why it's like, oh shit? We got to keep doing what we're doing. So when you hear there's a protest this day, I took off work, for example, I traded shift, so I can do it without it affecting my work. Right? I work Sunday tomorrow instead of next Saturday. Okay, so I can be a part of the protest. Right? But again, I'm not doing it with the idea of like trying to somehow profit off of this, which again is what a lot of people are getting trapped into, is they're forced to try to profit off it because it has some cost, right? It costs money to travel and park and go somewhere and protest and shit. It costs money, right? Right? So understand that the only reason those protests are backing up and backing off is because of outside pressure from people like Elon Musk. The only way this movement stops is if you quit. Uh, Anyone notice that if they're Dem, all they see on all platforms is Republican media? Who's they? Like, who's this person that asked like multiple times, "Why are you protesting?" Yeah. And remember, when we talk about liberalism, remember liberalism is conforming to ideals. Okay, it's more of the middle of the political spectrum. It's pretty liberal, like middle left, right? I'm a socialist, all the way left. All that means is that I'm pro equality, right? That means although I am a white cis male, right? I actually give a shit about women and members of the LGBTQIA plus community and people of color, fucking immigrants. And I just want to point out, if you're white and you live in the United States, you are a fucking immigrant, you idiot. Or your daddy was, or his daddy was, or that his your great granddaddy was a fucking immigrant, you asshole. Like what the fuck? Your grandma don't speak English, doggy. And also, other people of color that are not native to the United States, y'all are immigrants too, but y'all know that shit. I don't have to fucking tell someone that's from fucking name a country without being an asshole, right? Immigrant. That's an immigrant. They know. They know. You know why they know? Because they have to take the citizen's oath and they have to pass a citizenship test that white people don't have to fucking take. And when you take it, if you've ever taken the US citizenship test, I've actually taken it. It ain't easy. You actually have to you'd have to study for that actually and know that. Now people sit here and say, "Oh, they teach that shit in elementary school." Like no the fuck they don't. Actually. Go take a citizenship test. You actually got to want to be here. And that sentiment grows like every fucking day. If you're an immigrant to the United States, god damn, like you really had to want to be here, huh? Wild. Wild. Okay? And again, I've said it on this channel several fucking times. The only people I've ever met in my life where it would make sense if they were anti-immigrant is Native American. Okay? Because at least they're fucking from here, right? So if somebody comes up to you and they're like, "I'm a Cherokee Indian and I fucking hate white people and you're on my land." Holy shit. The one time on earth ever that shit made sense, all the other instances of being like anti-immigrant is ignorant as fuck. Actually. And I've heard people, huh? Some people, some Mexican people were in the lower states long when they would be called natives. Ange, Kimberly is a Native American. See, Kimberly agrees. At least if someone that is native, like native to the United States, like their entire fucking bloodline, you're native. You're a local. The fuck? It would actually make sense if you were, for the record, if you're from northern Mexico, if like your entire bloodline is from like the California Mexico border, like Tijuana, right? Regardless of what goes on there. I was in the Marine Corps. I know what happens. Okay. It's very likely that your family is actually from America, like, they you are from America, but like North America. It's very likely that your family was actually from north of the border, got pushed south of the border because of family name. Okay. Um, and again, it would make sense if these people that are technically like natives, if they were anti-immigrant, that makes sense. That passes logic. But when I see like Donald Trump, for example, the Trumps, period, talking about like immigrants, and you're like, Donald Trump's grandpa was a German citizen. Did right? Donald Trump's grandfather is a German citizen from Germany. Lived his whole life in Germany, I think. Yeah. And my family is from England, northern England. They own farms in northern England. Colonizers. But keep in mind, if you go back far enough, we're all related. All of us. If you're not, the United States original name would have translated to Turtle Beach. They make some pretty average aftermarket headsets. Yeah, we are all immigrants here. Yeah. That was kind of the point. As like, because you never, it's like I'm a unicorn, right? You never hear like a white cis male from the United States be like, I'm an immigrant. I'm a family. My entire bloodline, all immigrants, all white people, right? All immigrant. They're not like not from here. Like when people say they're from Chicago and they're white, you're like, "Do what?" Like I'm actually from Chicago. And it was like, "You aren't from Chicago. Your blood ain't from like what the fuck are you talking about? 3 generations back is not from this land." Thanks, pancakes. So, we say all that shit to say it's fucking crazy that we live in this time frame where motherfuckers are being deported. Okay, so after we talk about the first few news stories, I think we got to talk about. Um, oh damn it! I almost had his name on my head. I'll figure it out. What is the Garcia? Wait, no, it's Garcia. I want to say it was Bagnar, which is such a weird fucking name. What is the Garcia to be returned? Kilmar. Kilmar. Mistakenly deported. Hmm. I just, it just flashed before my eyes. College football in Florida. I'm gonna read this. This. I'm gonna show you this news story. Remember I'm a football coach. Okay. I want to coach Division One. What up, Lafayette, Indiana? I just interviewed David. I just interviewed to be the head coach at Tri County High School in Wolcott, Indiana. But Florida campus police agencies partner with ICE. So, hey, the colleges in Florida are partnered with ICE. I'm going to say it again. The colleges in Florida are partnered with ICE. ICE is funded by Palantir. Peter Thiel owns that. Okay? Sisi. Only making a joke. Italian, eh? Oh, the original fascists. Totally a joke. Totally a joke. Isn't it true? Isn't that where the birth of fascism was? I don't want to get blocked. This used to be a Learn Live. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. You ready for this? Donald Trump provided a list. What's crazy? You know what's crazy? That crazy fact. Crazy fact. Most people that came to the United States came as slaves. Most of the people that have ever come to the United States came as slaves in like the beginning. They were slave labor. Hmm. Boatloads and boatloads of people came over as slave labor, indentured servants. You call them whatever you want. And it wasn't just black people. Although uh, you'll catch no argument from me on how much worse it was. No argument, no argument at all. It's just that white people were slaves too, and there's a reason that they pinned slavery and put it all on black people, and it's to keep us all from revolting. Just throwing this out there. Just throwing this out there, because if they actually told you that it didn't actually matter what color you were, it really was all about money from the fucking jump. That if you didn't have the fucking money to get here, you owed at least for travel, if not for safety too, and so you had to pay it back. How the fuck are you gonna pay it back? That guy's getting on a boat and going back. Oh, you're gonna go work at this plantation because that guy owes me money. Eventually, I'm going to have you kill him and ransack his house. You know what I mean? I probably like went too far on that tangent, but whatever. That sounds like a great movie. Anyway, so I just want to throw that out there. That I'm all like, for example, somebody's like, "Oh, how do you feel about reparations?" Give it to them. Not an ounce of argument out of me. But I'm also saying like, there's a reason. There's a reason that they cut it up into white and black. And when you look at the history of slavery, they just say like, "Look how bad that black people had it." And it makes you feel bad, right? You have white guilt about this because you're like a white person, like, holy fuck, like generations on generations, like, holy shit, that shit's awful, bro. It didn't matter what the color of your skin was. That's the big problem that people don't understand. Is like, yes, it was fucking horrible for my black brothers and sisters. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying it didn't matter what the color of your skin was. They made slaves out of all of us. And the way they sold it to you when you were a little kid was to keep white people from revolting, from participating in revolt, especially if you look over the course of U.S. history. Children were slaves as soon as they could help with the children or the land. And again, all I'm saying is like, it wasn't like the United States was founded and there were only black slaves. I just want to make sure, because like adults don't know that, right? There are full blown adults that like never knew. Wait, there were other races of people with slaves too? Yes. So it's not just black people and it's not just Irish people? No. It literally didn't matter. It was all about money from the beginning. And again, I'm going to repeat it. If you didn't have the money to get here, you owed. And then when you got here, the guy that you owed was just going back. He's going back. He's got another load. So now what do you do? Now he owns you. Is what happens. Yeah, but we're talking about shit that really happened. So, okay. I just want to make sure CC and us and M were laughing. Okay. The original fascists. Ah. Yeah. Yep. And I again, if that sounds off, it's because it's an original thought. Like I had that thought as we were having the show where I realized like, oh, there's a reason that they made it like they tried to tell you like black people are below you, right? There's a reason they try to separate us so much and make race such an issue, is because if you ever realized that they made your people slaves too, bro. You ain't no better than nobody else. They made your people slaves too. How much more likely would you be to participate in revolt? How much more likely would you have been to participate in revolt? Look back. Look back over the last 250 years. 1775, kids. What if what if everyone knew that we were all slaves? What if you didn't have generation on generation of kid growing, white kids especially, white kids growing up now? Look at this education system, what they're doing now. They're taking what happened, what actually happened out, and what are they going to teach these kids? That they're better than people of color purely because of the color of their skin, which is fucking disgusting. Like literally disliking someone because the color of their skin is different is wild. Because you can't control that. You know how we talk about like controlling what you can control? Like get 8 hours of sleep a night, take a fucking nap, bitch. You probably need it. Drink water, eat right, exercise, that kind of shit. take care of yourself, because the people that don't like you, they don't take care of themselves. I can promise you, nobody that is using self-care, no one that uses self-care is out here being a motherfucking hater. Like, they don't have fucking time. I can promise you. If you care enough about yourself, you don't have time to be a hater. Remember the Feast of the Assumption. Every year in Little Italy in Cleveland, Ohio, they frown upon colored visitors and ate their feast. One made me sad. I didn't understand. Ignorance. Like, I hate to be like this. It makes me sound like I'm pandering. But when I see black people, I'm always amazed at the tone of their skin. You know what I mean? Because obviously they take black people tend to take care of their skin better, right? So people of color tend to have like shades, like all shades. And if you've been around in life, like you've just met all shades, and they're all awesome. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? They're people too. Remember, Jared, look what the Italians did to their fascist leader, Benny Mussolini. Yeah, right. I think that we're on the. Somebody keeps saying April 12th. Is that today? Is today April 12th? Oh, is this The Simpsons? Is today the Simpsons episode? Today's the day in the Simpsons. Oh. Yeah, we should protest next Saturday. Yep, we should definitely protest next Saturday. Because by next Saturday, we'd be protesting JD Vance. Okay? And we remember, I want to make sure we keep talking about this. We need to see the results of Executive Order 13848 on every election. And I hate to say this. I don't want to get excited. I don't want to get excited about somebody dying, because that is fucking bad juju. That is bad karma. Okay? But I can imagine that there's some fucking movement when he muertes. Does that make sense? Like, they are waiting until he kicks the motherfucking bucket to get the show started. I mean, he had a 5-hour fucking physical yesterday. Okay. Do you know why you have a 5-hour fucking physical? Because they're afraid you're gonna die if you leave. Just throwing that out. Go straight out of the TikTok shop. Okay. So I would warn you about praying for other people's death. I would warn you about that. It's different to anticipate it, or you're sitting around waiting on it. That's different. But to hope for it, that's bad karma. I'm warning you. Don't do that to yourself. Don't feel that. Don't go to the dark side. Far too many people have been good this whole fucking time. And you get all the way to the part where the bad guy is really struck. He's on one foot. And you start wishing for his death. And then you say shit like, "Oh, I've been wishing for his death the whole fucking time." And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you think he's alive? Do you not understand how this shit works? Karma. It's bad fucking karma to sit around and I wish that motherfucker would just die. Oh my god. Do something else. Holy shit. And for far too long, people have sat around and done nothing and just wished he would die. And how do you think we got here? Because 20 million motherfuckers stayed at home on election day, right? It's okay to admit that you have the angel and devil on each shoulder, and one of them's telling you to fuck it, let him die, and the other one's throwing wadded up paper at the devil, saying, "Asshole, that's bad karma." And understand that, like, I'm not religious, and karma's a bitch. Karma is like an Amazonian woman that will smack the fuck out of you every now and then if you don't behave. But that will absolutely be the fucking wind in your sails if you live your life the right way. Okay. And again, we're just talking about opinions, man. And also, I want to point out because somebody was talking about healthcare, you can't buy better healthcare. The best healthcare, the best healthcare goes to people that have nothing. It's called Medicaid. I worked in healthcare. Did you hear what I said? Because there's this thing called like the Hippocratic Oath, and so they treat everyone equally regardless of your income. And when you're super poor in the United States, you get what's called Medicaid and Medicare. And they have these healthcare plans that are called dual special needs plans. They have no cost, no out of pocket, no copay, no cost for drugs. All your drugs are covered, all your doctor's appointments are covered. They'll even give you hundreds of dollars a month for bills and groceries. They'll give you thousands of dollars a year for dental, vision, and hearing. I know you're sitting there poor and you're like, that fucking sucks. I want that healthcare. We can have that. We could have that. The U.S. healthcare system is failing. So, just so everybody's heard it recently, the U.S. healthcare system is failing. Okay. Okay. And my offer as the founder of the American Socialist Party, not as somebody who wants to be a politician, because who wants to be a fucking politician? Am I right? Fuck these people. But I will absolutely found a party and help direct a party and help you make decisions because people need adults in the room. Clearly, uh, Jared Golden and Ed Case and Marie Perez and Dr. Queller. Clearly, these fucking idiots needed someone in the room to say disenfranchising 70 million women from voting is not good. And understand that you know what's going to happen. People are going to get divorced. Remember how the last administration was concerned that 2/3 of all marriages end because of the rising cost of healthcare? Exactly, Cammy. Exactly. So they want to make it harder for the people that aren't going to vote Republican to vote, period. So think about who the SAVE Act targets specifically. I'll tell you. Women, especially women that have gotten married and changed their last name, and their last name is different than what's on their birth certificate. So I get it. That's awfully specific. It's 70 million women. It's a lot. Okay? It also affects veterans. It also affects immigrants. It also, I'm trying to remember who else it affects. Oh, low income. Because for most of these people, it's $100 plus bucks to get a passport, and poor people can't afford to just fucking do that. Or if you change, I was talking about yesterday. My mom was in witness protection, had to change her name and shit. By the way, I don't know if you guys have caught it. I'm kind of off interacting, and I'm all on the Swift block. So if any of you are here every day and you would like to be on TikTok, also giving people the Swift boot, let me know. And for all of you that are getting swept up in all of this, I'm awfully sorry. There's nothing I can fucking do but show up here every day, talk about what is really going on, help you wade through the madness. Okay? HSA pays for IDs if you can't afford food, healthcare, transportation, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my idea is to have. So, Crystal, here I'll give you the news on Donald J. Trump. Because he had a bruises, right? So here from the Latin Times. Okay. Donald Trump's nearly 5-hour physical exam raises questions about his health after massive bruise saga. Remember, because you actually see it in the article, he had this massive bruise on the back of his right hand. And a lot of people have said that they associate that with they're gonna muerte soon. Um, I'm not about to muerte. I just also should probably throw that out every now and then. I'm in great health, actually. I just need to be more physically active. Um, Obviously, I sit down a lot for all the stuff I do. I got to be more physically active myself. I got to stop being a hypocrite. And I also feel bad for Kilmar Garcia because he's a dad. And I get it. I'm not a parent. I can't even empathize. I don't. But I can't imagine being a parent and getting taken away from your kids and then having your kids watch the government like flub uh, this up. Because I want you to understand something. I'm not pro deportation when I say deportation happens. People are here illegally. I'm a firm believer, and you can't be an illegal immigrant on stolen land. Don't ask me. I did not build the system. Okay? But um, as long as I can remember, they've been deporting motherfuckers. So understand that like they've been doing this shit. If I remember correctly, Barack Obama deported like 3 million people. Okay. But I feel real bad for Kilmar Garcia because he's a fucking dad, man. And I can't imagine like being away from your kids, not knowing if you're gonna fucking live or not, or ever see them again. You know, and I again, I'm not a parent, but all I'd be thinking about is the last fight we had, and how I'm like, fuck, if I could just take that back, you know, and if I never see him again, then they don't fucking hate me when I'm in my casket, right? Like that's what I would be thinking about, right? It's a fucked up situation. Again, I can empathize when someone's like an American citizen mistakenly fucking sent out of the country and shit, separated from their family, as opposed to like a regular deportation of someone who overstayed a visa or is here illegally. I don't agree with the fucking system. It's just things I have to cope with as an adult, or that my country kicks people out of it. I what? Don't you need their cheap labor? Like, what are we doing? Okay. And for the record, if you're moving to the United States, make sure that you have a job first and that you don't take less because you're from a foreign country. Hmm. And I've also had to have this conversation with my wife lately. See, I think when it comes to all the cheapest labor, we can just use machines. Like you're talking about like picking fruit and stuff, you can mostly do that with a machine. What you need to do um, is make sure that those people that were picking fruit for you, that you try to employ as many of them as you can and educate the ones that you can't employ and help them. And that's what your massive fucking farming corporation, mega corporation, literally has a fucking union and a bunch of goddamn employees that work for you whose job is to make people's transition out of your company better. But I mean, what the fuck do I know? Those people are all undocumented labor. So, again, not I participating in a capitalist system trying to run a business with fucking illegal labor. You know what I mean? Yeah. And one of the things that people don't understand about farming and about having people pick flowers and shit, and or I'm sorry, pick fruit and shit, is how that's not what human beings were meant to do. Those massive plots where you got like a half a mile long row of fucking orange trees. You think that's natural? You think that's what it was intended? You think that's what man was intended to do? God, do I have some fucking I'm just sad for people. You know what I mean? And people say shit like that's the only jobs they could get and it's like God, you're better than this. And in case anybody hasn't told you that you're fucking worth it. You're better than this and shit. Yeah, why would he? He probably needs ID because he's dehydrated. So you got 70 people watching us this morning, as per the usual. I know there's a lot going on in the world. You got to do what you can do. Okay, control what you can control. You've got to sleep 8 hours a night. You probably need to take a nap. If you feel overwhelmed, you're fidgety, and you're not really sure, take a fucking nap. You need to hydrate. You need to eat right. And if you're going to do all that stuff, you might as well exercise. Expend all that excess energy. Okay? But again, part of the reason that I wake up every day and I'm motivated to do this show is because I'll sit down, I'll start reading what's really going on, and I'm like, I know that this isn't just being shown on mainstream media. Like, I guarantee you, if you were to watch an hour of CNN today, I can promise you you're going to see Donald Trump golfing. You're going to see Donald Trump sitting behind his desk in the Oval Office. And we are not going to talk about Donald Trump had a 5-hour physical yesterday and how there are concerns about his health. I guarantee you they're not going to tell you that on CNN. Again, I also want to talk about April 12th being today and The Simpsons. Yeah, I think it's far more likely he was dehydrated. If you need to figure out. Sorry. Do we already? I already put the Edwin Starr's War in the chat, right? Oh, you know my one of my favorite things about having been in politics, not having been in politics, having gave a shit about politics is there were a lot of people that were blaming Barack Obama for the 2008 bank bailout that was actually signed by George Bush. Just want to put that out there. MAGA leftist. Batya Ungar Sargon. It's always motherfuckers with 3 or 4 names, bro. Oh, and you know what's particularly how you be Megan left? I don't know. People will cling on anything about a man. I can never fucking figure it out, dude. Can never figure it out. Ask my entire family and lots of my friends, and I live in Indiana, so look left, look right, look out. These motherfuckers are dumb. I think that they're delaying announcing either his arrival, they're trying to make it a political event, or he's dead. He's muerte. Crush. I know it's not what you want to hear, but so just trade out beekeeper with any other job, and you could just write this story, and the town it happened in, and the fact that he tends to bees. Just change his vocation, change the town, change his job title, write this story, and put it out every day. Maybe one day these motherfuckers will know. MAGA beekeeper admits Trump tariffs have cost him half his business. Half. It killed his business. Okay? Let me explain this to you. I've helped someone run their own business. I've owned my own business. I studied data analytics at Purdue University. I was a very good student, so I chose not to be. Here to go. One of the things that I met, yeah, you see, Vixen, you and I, homies. I'm an anarchist at my fucking core. Okay, but what I've learned is that I can handle fucking anarchy. It's everything around me cannot handle anarchy. Okay. Extortion's Donnie's only art. Yeah. Yeah, see, here's the story I see from the Straits Times. The Trump administration does not know where's that story at? Sorry, hold on. Oh, that story got taken down. Wow. Okay. So I had a story for y'all and it got fucking taken down because the Trump administration doesn't know where he is. So a lot of people have been asking. Jesus Christ. Cammy, that shit gives me life. Oh, look, it's the consequences of my actions. Yeah, anarchy took it down. Right. So there's a candlelight vigil 9 a.m. this morning. There was a candlelight vigil at 9 a.m. Taken off life support at 10 a.m. this morning. 17-year-old Victor Perez, a disabled teenager who was shot by police. Rest in peace. And again, Vanessa said, "Can you make the Colts thing line up with the no? No, what people don't understand. There's only one screw holding them up. Yeah, it's physics. It's great. I know it's tilting because like this one's a little off center, but it has to be. It has to be. And no, Tilt. Anarchy. I know. They need to be all aligned, right? I was even in the Marine Corps, right? So like coverage and alignment's like a thing. Yeah, I know. But there's a reason. It forces us to have a conversation. I get to tell you there's only one screw holding them all up. This was kind of wild, right? And it's not like I have to like fix it all the time. I know. That's the whole reason. It's like, yes, I found order in anarchy. Like I realized after I put the first one up, not everybody likes basketball. And then I kind of just half-heartedly put the fucking Purdue one on top, and I was like, well, not everybody likes fucking college stuff, right? And then I was like, fuck it, I'll put the Colts one up there. And when I put them all in line, they tip over. And I was like, I wonder how long if I gotta move the Colts one until it just, uh, uh, uh. Oh, hey. Oh, I guess I gotta show YouTube. See? See how it's cockeyed? Yeah. 36 Israeli airstrikes on Gaza killed only women and children. Since we started doing the show, Vixen. And by the way, somebody asked me if I'm married. Happily. Mortgage rates surge over 7%. So we ain't going nowhere. God. S&M, your life has been so much quieter and less full of doom. When I came home from the Marine Corps, I was really sad until I found Twitter. And I felt like Twitter could handle who I am as a person. And so I even went to school and got a degree in social media because I was enamored with Twitter. And I wasn't even like a poster, I was a lurker. Same thing with Reddit for fucking years, for more than a decade. I just like use Reddit. I don't like use Reddit. You know what I mean? Yeah, but the thing about it is, it's all crashing and burning, CC. It's hilarious. To me, it's like, think about it. If somebody's gonna beat me, I want them to beat me and win. Not beat me and lose your ass. What the fuck? Now you ain't got nothing? That's stupid. What the I wouldn't have. What? But yeah, for all of you that have never had a Twitter, God, your life is way better. Your quality of life is way higher. Um, Although there at the end, I finally figured out how to use Twitter and it became useful, and that was because of you already talked about Social Security people. I've just been over on Twitter, like, what the fuck, no more stuff that would do it all on Twitter and not sus at all. Yeah, that's how you know that Twitter's dying. Is he literally had Elon Musk had to figure out, how do I force a bunch of people that aren't on Twitter already to get on Twitter. I know, Cece, and now it's dying. And I got off of Twitter because of Elon, Cece. Thank you for telling me that. As though I don't have a degree in social media. I just got done telling you that too. How dare I have a degree in social media and not know who controls Twitter? That would be the most insane shit that any of us hear all day. Yeah. But literally everything that Donald Trump and Elon Musk touches turns to shit. Yeah, Carol Sue, same girl, same. Okay. Keep in mind, Carol, I was a sports journalist covering the Indianapolis Colts for years. Nobody gave a shit. I was being paid by Vox Media. I was creating content for the second largest Colts website outside of Colts.com itself. Which, again, if you're not an NFL fan, doesn't mean anything to you. But, like, think about an NFL team, and there's only like 32 of those. And then there's Colts.com, which is the Colts official website. And then the Stampede Blue, the site I wrote for, got the second most contact from Colts fans out of any other Colts-based website for years, for like 6 years. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. I even stopped doing all that because they try to pay me. They try to get me to do more work and pay me less every fucking year. And be like, you want to write about this shit? And you're like, holy shit. So now, the last year, I think I was writing like 4 or 5 articles a week, which is basically a job. And then they were like, we're not going to pay you anymore. And I was just like, the fuck? What? It's okay. Yeah, we talked about that, Vanessa, about how he had a 5-hour physical that was top of the hour. But yeah, I never, if you go back and look, I never made content regarding politics or the news. But what happened was I started making content in light of the KKK rally that happened at Madison Square Garden on October 21st. If you look, that's when I joined TikTok. So I only started talking about this shit because I worked at a comedy club for a year before I went on stage half a dozen times and wrote all my own material. It actually, when I started going on stage, it made it really difficult to watch other comedians because I don't ever want to be called out for theft. So it made it really hard to like enjoy comedy because now I am one. Now I'm writing material. And it made me really sad to watch Tony Hinchcliffe get up there and, for the record, do what he was paid to do. That's what he was paid to do, and it was bad. It was really bad, and I didn't think it was funny. And it went right along. It absolutely kind of riled up Donald Trump's voter base, and that is when I started making content because I realized all this shit was so despicable to watch. But what's even worse was watching mainstream media just blare Tony Hinchcliffe making these racist fucking jokes. And I'm just like, holy shit, he's putting a black eye on comedy, right? Certainly, there were worse things said, right? Like, holy fuck, Grant Cardone, right? I don't know if y'all recall that day. Yeah, we talked about the SAVE Act yesterday, day before that. So yeah, the for the record, the SAVE Act is meant to make it more difficult for people that would not vote Republican to vote. So we may make sure we say that. 4 Democrats helped pass a bill making it harder for people to vote. Specifically, the people that will not vote Republican. And oh, by the way, Blue Dog Caucus. I want to make you aware of this. Marie Perez, one of the 4 people. She's from Washington State. She's one of the 4 people to vote for the SAVE Act. She's part of the Blue Dog Caucus, which are secret Republicans that are Democrats. So it's something to be aware of. They have like 54 elected officials that are part of the Blue Dog Caucus, which are conservative Democrats, which tells you everything you need to know. There's a reason that I got on here and started creating a show where we talk about news and politics, where I say, hey, we need people. If you've lived in your city for a long time, you are an educator, You were a part of a union is probably a big selling point for me for you to get into politics if you aren't involved already. If you worked in a union, they passed the budget. Well, I mean, they might have passed the budget, but they've spent 145 more billion dollars. Okay. What'd you delete all your comments for? I'm gonna take away Wizard vote. Yep. Yep. Have a nice day. Yeah, Cece, why'd you delete all your messages? Wild. Hope you have a good day. It's not personal. That's what I get for interacting. But yeah, they spent $154 billion more this year. I agree with Jasmine Crockett here. Why isn't anyone questioning Donald Trump's mental acuity? It's kind of wild. Oh, wait, that was wow, that beekeeper, multiple articles written about him. That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. To be like a conservative Democrat, so why aren't you just a Republican? That's just stupid. Conservative that's GOP. That's when Republicans sold me on small government my whole life, I didn't think they meant destroying it, all of it. I just thought they meant they were going to cut some red tape. What the fuck? See, here's the thing. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. I'm pro equality. And then a lot of people will ask, like, what flavor of socialist are you then? And I'm a syndicalist, which just means that I'm pro union. So then I would ask any other human being, are you pro union? Are you pro equality? Do you want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing? You're a socialist. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Okay? And if you don't want other people to have universal health care, education, income, and housing, you're not pro equality and you're not pro union. What are you? We got to cut funding for education to make education not mandatory. Digress. I disagree. Unions are our hope. Why? At the very core, a union is a group of people that share an employer who want better working conditions at that employer. The leadership of a union whose job it is to get better wages and benefits and working conditions for union members and employees at a business probably are going to be great political leaders because their jobs to get people better pay, better insurance, and make their lives easier, right? Yeah. And he's overbill. Donald Trump is overbilling when he goes golfing. Of course he does. Mm, 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 mm. You want to tell me socialism doesn't work? What's this? What's this? This looks an awful lot like New Mexico made childcare free and it lifted 120,000 people above the poverty line. Huh, that's weird. Yeah, when you make education optional, you make poor people even less educated. Because think about where we are right now. We are on the cusp of education becoming free. And how the fuck how'd you get there? Harvard has gone tuition free if your parents make under 250, and I think it's 180 single family household. So again, if you've been watching the show, I had said on prior episodes, hey, be the first college to go tuition free. You want to make a huge impact? Who did it? Harvard, Ivy League, the tippy tip top of fucking education in the United States went tuition free first. And I'd said be the first school to do that. Like, brilliant fucking move. Why? Because people want to go where they'll feel accepted. Remember, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Less and less people that go to Harvard are rich kids. More and more people that go to Harvard they just come from poor families. But New Mexico made childcare free. It lifted 120,000 people above the poverty line. In New Mexico, right in our own country. Hey, from 2020 to 2022, they gave 500 households in Denver, Colorado, $500 every Friday. Do you know what happened? 42% of households produced a college degree, bought a house, got married, or had a child, which are all four of the indicators of a growing economy. So when you ask me, why won't universal income work? I would have to refer you to multiple studies that, on the contrary, show that it does work. It is people are motivated by not being fucking poor. Because I'll put it like this: I've worked my ass off and been a great, outstanding employee everywhere I have ever worked, and I am still poor. Yeah, systematically gaslighted. I agree, Linda. Because when you look up what is the definition of socialism, the first big word you run into in the definition is egalitarian. And then you go look up egalitarian and you come away from that and you're like, pro equality? Hold on. So if I'm a socialist, it means I'm pro equality. It means I'm opposed to eliminating DEI in the workplace, right? Because first of all, I'll be the white cis male in the room that says, DEI doesn't affect me directly, except that I'm a veteran, so DEI does affect me. And that also makes me not a fucking moron. And most of the time, the beneficiary of that is a woman. The beneficiary of DEI is a white woman. 54%. So I'm pro DEI, right? I want. Vixen said, fun fact, I went to school with the mayor that experimented universal income in California. Awesome. But yeah, the major argument against socialism is that people will become lazy, and people are fucking lazy. So that's not a good argument against socialism, or that people will be disincentivized to labor. We're talking about a couple $1,000s a month. And in case anybody hasn't seen this, that's rent. Oh, a lot of people will try to hamstring you economically when you say that you're a socialist, and then they're like, "Oh, so you're for a centralized economy," and it's just like, no. If you go look up and do your research on socialism, there's a social economic theory. It says that interest, rent, and taxes are derivative of your labor, and we should work to remove them from society. And of course, like a capitalist is like, but what about the landlords? Right? Like I give a fuck about a landlord. And then when you figure out about what does it mean to seize the means of production or the social ownership of business. So right now in the United States, we have private equity. Your BlackRock, Vanguard, venture capital companies that buy up big group big amounts of stock and manage wealth. They buy stock for their customers and manage their portfolios, right? And they handle a lot of people's retirement and shit. Okay? I would argue that your retirement being tied to the stock market is like that's a raw deal. That's a raw deal. It forces you to be compliant in order to get to retire. Because look at the market volatility right now, where people's retirements in the shitter. How does the market recover? You have to change your tune. What you're saying has to change. I just realized we are over time. I have to go to work today. So sorry to cut myself off. I just realized we were an hour and 37 minutes. It is 9:40. I have to be at work in 15 minutes. So fortunately, I work from home. Right. Yeah, but the social ownership of business is like me saying, I want Tesla employees to secretly unionize, and when the Tesla stock bottoms the fuck out, the Tesla employees buy it all up and they own it. They become Elon's boss. They fire Elon. Right? That's the social ownership of business. It's also seizing the means of production. Being pro union is seizing the means of production. Doesn't sound awful, does it? Anyway, eat the rich. Y'all have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Sorry about that.